Coming to you live from Ursprung Gymnasium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome inside our coverage of Yellow Jacket basketball. It's an OAC matchup tonight against a team the Yellow Jackets have been looking forward to playing a second time. The Ohio Northern Polar Bears are in town for the second meeting this year with the Jackets. I'm Brendan Gulick. Welcome inside our coverage tonight. BW 11-8 on the season, but they are coming off of a frustrating loss on the road at Muskingum, where their starting three guards combined to go 3 for 25 from the floor in a disappointing 83-73 loss at Muskingum on Saturday. It just goes to show this league is really tough, and truly any given night you can lose if you're not ready to go. Muskingum might not be very good record-wise at 3-9 in the conference, but they've got the number 2 leading scorer in the country, Marcus Dempsey, and he dropped 42 on Saturday in that loss that BW suffered down in New Concord. On the other side of things, Ohio Northern has had a tough year. They're 6-13 overall, just 2-10 in league play, and right now they're by themselves in last place in the league, partially because the Yellow Jackets lost at Muskingum. Ohio Northern is one game behind Muskingum and Otterbein, as those three teams look to be the three that are fighting for the final one spot in the OAC tournament coming up later this month. So Ohio Northern only 2 wins in conference play, but wouldn't you know it, the last time they won a game, January 15th against the Yellow Jackets, 81-74. They beat BW that night over in Ada, and Ohio Northern has followed that with 5 consecutive losses to Marietta, Otterbein, Capital Wilmington, and Mount Union. So the Jackets, on top of the fact they lost to this team last time they played them, they're also coming off a disappointing loss. And I would think this team doesn't need any more fuel than that to come out and have a full effort here tonight. Head coach Tom Heil in his 5th year for the Yellow Jackets, coming off an OAC tournament championship a year ago. They are hosting Rich Bensman and his Polar Bears, 4th year head coach at Ohio Northern. He's coaching his 99th game tonight at Ohio Northern, and he had his team as the OAC tournament runner-up 2 years ago, and they lost at John Carroll. Ready to go. The Jackets are in white. Ohio Northern is in their mostly orange-clad jerseys. We'll do the starting lineups here in just a moment. The referee tonight is Stefan Veselov, and the tip is controlled by the Polar Bears. Off we go. Edwin Huey and Dan Fauser also officiating tonight's game. Ohio Northern with Brandon Waugh, Austin Allmeyer, Landon Wong, CJ Napier, and Thomas Phillips. They're starting 5 as they turn it over on their first possession. This is an exceptionally young team for the Polar Bears. Allmeyer's a senior. Caleb Bryan will come off the bench. He's a senior. And they have 3 juniors, but everybody else is an underclassman. And at one point, they were starting 5 freshmen. Acquiring misses a 3 from the corner. And here come the Polar Bears. For the Jackets, well, they only graduated 2 pieces from last year's tournament championship team. That 3 ball draws a foul on the far side. And early free throws coming for Brandon Waugh. Jackets have some significant senior leadership. Michael Quiring's a senior from Brunswick. Zach Sabula, a senior from Brunswick. Those both in the starting lineup. In addition to that, a couple of juniors. Drew Sova, who's one of the top rebounders in the league. And Luke Schaefer, who's coming off a really good offensive game. He's the only one that played well offensively on Saturday. Schaefer's a junior from Medina. And Anthony Mazzio, freshman guard of Massillon Jackson. Brandon Waugh from Columbus Northland. They have turned out some superb prep talent over the years. A couple of their guys you might remember from the Ohio State team that went to the Final Four back in 2007. Jared Sullinger was a Columbus Northland grad. Waugh connects on all 3, and so it's 3-0 here early on. Brandon Waugh having a pretty decent season. He started every game. Be out there more than 31 minutes a night, averaging just about 10 points per game. Byron throws back to Schaefer, far side. Feed in the paint. Drew Sova banks it in. 3-2 contest. Sova's field goal percentage this year is really good. As Ohio Northern turns it over for a second time here early. Sova's field goal percentage with that make is 60%. He is 60 for 100. Only guy better in the entire conference is his teammate, Alex Nara, who is shooting 67% from the floor. Gotta love the way those two guys have capitalized on their chances. Jackets down a point, minute and a half in. Sabula catch and shoot. It's a rhythm three. No. Mazzio touched it. Didn't want to. He certainly tried not to. Ball pinballed around a bit and definitely deflected off the freshman. So Ohio Northern comes back into the forecourt. Still, I guess I would call it a late arriving crowd. Ohio Northern, especially for midweek games, doesn't travel particularly well. It's a long ride from the west part of Ohio, and a lot of their kids are from certainly at least a couple hours away from BW. Plus there's a winter storm supposed to roll in later tonight, so hopefully that means that there's lots of Polar Bear folks watching at home. Luke Schaefer misses a three ball. Polar Bears lead it by 1, 2.5 minutes in. Waugh in the corner. A little teardrop runner gets his own miss. He'll pull it back out. Allmeyer swings it left side, Landon Wong. Sova hedged it nicely. CJ Napier threw it underneath. Good bounce pass. Thomas Phillips capitalizes. 5-2 Polar Bears. Tom Heil told me before the game that he was concerned about Ohio Northern's sheer talent level. He said, look, I know they're 2-10, but you can see why this team has potential. They've got a lot of talent. They're just young and inexperienced. Some guys didn't see a lot of the floor the last couple years because they had a couple of the premier post players in the league. As the Jackets get another basket through Drew Sova. Ryan Bruns is playing overseas now professionally, and he's had a nice start to his professional career. Bruns was an animal in this conference. Fade away for Allmeyer, got it. Bruns last year actually was one of 2 members in the Ohio Athletic Conference that played in the NABC All-Star Game, the national semifinals in Fort Wayne last year. Michael Quiring raises and hits a three. We're tied at 7, 16-18 left in the first half. So when you lose a player of Bruns' caliber, it's hard to replace that, but it's also hard for other guys to get on the floor when he's healthy and available. One missed, or I should say made from the corner from CJ Napier. Quiring uses the high screen. Sova looks like he got the wind knocked out of him. Mazzio fights his way up for 2. Good effort. Anthony Mazzio making his 15th start in his 20th game as a freshman. Mazzio's averaging just under 9 points and just over 3 rebounds per game. He's a pretty good outside shooter. He's just under 50% for behind the three-point line this year as Thomas Phillips cleans it up. 11-9 Polar Bears. Boy, this arena right now has a weird feel to it. It's quiet, it's lethargic. The Jackets have kind of echoed that on the floor. Sabula. That ball hit the wire above the basket, whistled dead. And Alex Nara is going to come in for BW. He's in for Drew Sova. And Matt Dimitrievs is on for Zach Sabula. 11-9 Ohio Northern, 15-11 left in the first. CJ Napier's their leading scorer, almost 17 points per game. Freshman out of Bishop Fenwick, down in Miamisburg. Landon Wong has had a pretty good freshman year too. He's their second leading scorer, over 12 points per night. Both of those guys have been very good from the free throw line. That's helped their cause quite a bit. Waugh fires one to Phillips. Down Nara. Right-handed hook shot gets a friendly bounce over the front of the rim. 13-9 Ohio Northern. You kind of get the feeling this is the kind of game Ohio Northern wants to play with BW. They don't want to let the Jackets run up and down the floor on both ends. BW thrives in chaotic situations. Schaefer, step back. Not quite. Ohio Northern, 5 of their first 9 from the floor. Make it 6 of 10. Austin Allmeyer buries a 3 right in front of the Yellow Jacket bench. 16 to 9. Now there was a whistle after the play. I didn't catch the reason for the whistle after the ball went down. I don't think there was a foul assessed to anybody. All right, substitutions. Going to be something that went wrong. Shane Zalba dishes underneath. Nara can't finish, and he got fouled. Jake Snyder's in the game too with Dimitrievs and Schaefer. Northern getting ready to make a couple changes here. But first, free throws for Alex Nara. He's averaging 10 points per game this season. At 8 on Saturday, but that doesn't really tell the full picture because Nara was not particularly productive in the first half of the season. But once Tyler Colombo went out with a knee injury, Nara slid in and has been outstanding. Listen to these point totals from Nara, all of them off the bench, by the way. 19, 21, 19, 18, 12, 15, and only 8 on Saturday at Muskingum. But he has been a double-digit scoring machine the last month now. We're talking about 3.5, almost 4 weeks of OAC action. Allmeyer makes a good move, but then lost the handle. There's a foul on the floor. It's on Snyder. Ohio Northern, in terms of their national rankings in a lot of different categories, really only have a couple that stand out in terms of things they do well. They are a very good free throw shooting team, almost 75%. That's top 60 in the country out of 416 teams. And they don't commit a lot of fouls either. 5 on the clock. Waugh fades away, missed it. Nobody boxed out the low rebounding man. Napier had an easy chance and got fouled on the putback try. Yeah, they don't commit a lot of fouls, and they're very good from the free throw line. But unfortunately, that's kind of where it stops. They are one of the worst teams in the country this year at sharing the basketball. They are 4th last in the entire country in assists, averaging less than 10 assists per game. But with those free throws, they take an 18-11 lead. Good work from C.J. Napier. They also don't force many turnovers. They only average about 10.5 turnovers forced per game. That's 10th worst in the country out of more than 400 teams. Luke Schaefer puts on a clinic. Nice move, 18-13. So they're going to need to find a way to pressure BW. All of a sudden, you're feeling some urgency on the defensive end for the Jackets. As Waugh goes right to the rim and lays it high off the window for 2. So far, so good tonight. It's 20-13. Ohio Northern, 7 of 12 from the floor. Napier makes it 8 of 13. Tom Heil has a rather blank stare on his face at the moment. That's 6 points for Napier. Zalba tried to go toward Dimitrievs, and BW gives it away. It's their first turnover of the night. Another change for Ohio Northern. Landon Wong returns. Landon Wong checks out. Here comes Ty Colombo and Michael Quiring for BW. .12:20 left in the first half. Jackets down by 9. BW's hit 5 of 10. Ohio Northern 8 of 13 from the floor, so neither team is playing particularly well on the defensive end. Problem for BW, they're 1 of 5 from behind the three-point line already. Napier down the middle of the key was blocked by Alex Nara, but fouled. First personal on Nara, and team third. Meanwhile, Austin Allmeyer sprinted back up the floor the other way. Just wanted to get a little water. Maybe he's got some blood? I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe he had a bloody lip. He's kind of wiping at his face. The athletic trainer for Ohio Northern had his gloves on. All right, well, Allmeyer's okay. No other reason to stop play. Napier does his job, hits the free throws. It's 24-13. All of a sudden, the Jackets are in a little trouble here. Down by 11. This is a stretch where BW needs to play well because the schedule's about to get really difficult. Foul at the top of the arc. This game was tied at 9. And it is a lengthy run here, 15-4 for Ohio Northern. This is kind of odd, but the Jackets are going to play 4 consecutive road games the next 2 weeks. And none of those 4 places have been historically easy for BW. Dimitrievs, no. Ty Colombo got it. Second chance. Dimitrievs lines it up and puts it in. 24-16. First bucket for Matt Dimitrievs. Post move from Michael Berner, a freshman from Springboro. This is Caleb Bryan, the senior, back to Berner. Aaron Good, a freshman from Wapakoneta, is in the game. Driving through the key, Landon Wong missed it. No, I beg your pardon, put it in. It's 26-16. Firing finds Dimitrievs, who wants another. Nara gives him another chance. 10:45 left in the first. Dimitrievs picked up that dribble. Q on the trail pass. Dimitrievs again. 26-19. Jackets are within 7. 10:28 in the first half. BW is 3 for 9 from behind the three-point line. That was almost a walk. Bryan, a second crack at it, missed them both. Colombo grabbed the miss that time. Jackets have been really out-rebounded by quite a bit here. Be better on the glass. Dimitrievs heating up. 3 in a row for Matt Dimitrievs. 26-22. Timeout, Ohio Northern. 30-second timeout, we'll take it 2. Jackets are down 4, 26-22. 9:54 left in the first half. Moving along nicely here in the first half with the Ohio Northern Polar Bears out front of BW. 26-22. 9:54 left for halftime. The Jackets have played from behind the entire game, trailed by as many as 11. But BW has got this back to a more reasonable place. Landon Wong returning to the game. I think he threw a pass that Caleb Bryan wasn't expecting. Turnover and a layup. Jackets within a bucket. Zach Sabula. This is his first points of the night. Game's leading scorers Matt Dimitrievs right now, who's 3 of 5 from behind the arc. 9 total points. Bryan measures and hits. Caleb Bryan. First points for him tonight off the bench. 29-24 Polar Bears. Sova acquiring Colombo, Dmitrievs, and Sabula for BW. Good drop step from Sova. Back to Colombo for three. Down and around and back out. Bryan tries to create some space, and it worked out for him. Jackets down a touchdown, 31-24. How about the Yellow Jacket ladies out in Ada right now? They're up 20-3 in the second quarter. Another timeout called for by Ohio Northern. Well, it's a good diving effort from Caleb Bryan. But Ohio Northern burns a second timeout in just about a 1-minute span. Elsewhere around the OAC tonight on the men's side, the John Carroll Blue Streaks have an 18-12 lead over Heidelberg. The game has about 11 minutes left in the first half. Otterbeins hosting Wilmington tonight. Otterbein Cardinals not having a great year. 6-13, 3-9 in league play under first-year head coach Andy Winters. And they're trailing at home to the Quakers 23-19, about 8 minutes left in their first half. And even though the Yellow Jackets had a somewhat surprising loss at Muskingum on Saturday, not sure it was the biggest surprise in the league. John Carroll was down a dozen at halftime at home against Marietta, turned around and beat the Pioneers. Marietta has now dropped 3 games overall, 2 in conference play. They're a game behind Mount Union at the top of the league. Marietta trying to respond tonight against Capital. They lead 28-15, 7.5 left before halftime. In this game, the Jackets are down by 7. And we get a whistle. Foul's on Colombo. Ty just picked up his second. Try to get you an update as soon as we can from Mount Union and Muskingum. I think their game may be a 7:30 tip-off. Looks like it's the end of their pregame, so hopefully we'll have some stats to give you shortly there. Mount Union, the #1 team in the league right now. They've got up to number 14 in the national polls. Brandon Wong goes up and under. Sweet move for 2. 33-24, under 8 minutes left in the first half. Sova. Watt took it away from him. 3-on-1. C.J. Napier scores again. He's in double figures with 10. And the Ohio Northern lead is stretched back to 11. 35-24. This has been a nightmare 2 games for BW. A lot of basketball to be played, though. Drew Sova banks it in. Jackets handed Muskingum their 3rd win in 12 games in the league. And they're in danger of perhaps giving Ohio Northern their 3rd win in 13 games in the league. 37-26, that's 8 now for Thomas Phillips. Acquiring with under 7 left in the first half. Schaefer lets it fly and bricks it. Meyer, the clear out and run out. Landon Wong from a mile downtown. You gotta be kidding me. Basket counts, but a foul on Thomas Phillips after the play's over. No hard feelings. He and Quiring got tangled up, but how about Landon Wong, who hits one from practically Strongsville from here? Ohio Northern is here to play tonight. This young team is showing out on the road in Berea. 40-26 at the moment. They've hit all 3 of their 3-pointers, all 7 of their foul shots. And the team is shooting nearly 70% from the field. The Jackets are down 14, even though they're shooting at 53%. Mazio. Sova. Got it. 40-28. Allmeyer. Napier. Waugh gets a screen from Phillips, doesn't really want it. 8 to shoot, 5:55 in the first half. Finally a missed three-pointer. Phillips short. Mazio, a little head fake. Gets it back on the give and go and lays it in. 40-30. Rich Bensman gets out of his chair and barks out instructions to his offense. The Yellow Jackets look like they've been playing in quicksand most of the night. Things have been slow and reactionary. It's not a winning formula. 12 points now for Napier. 5:15 left in the first half. The Jackets are down a dozen. Mazio. Firing. Mazio, well contested. That never had a chance. Right now, the Polar Bears want it more. Under 5 in the first half. Napier one-on-one. Gets it right back. Sova contests it and forced the miss. Luke Schaefer for 2. Mount Union leads Muskingum by 7, 34-27, fairly late in their first half. Mount Union working on trying to go to 17-3. I think they're the most athletic team in the league this year. We saw them play here early in the season, and head coach Mike Feuline told me he thought they had a bad game, but man, they were impressive for having a bad game. Meanwhile, the Jackets draw the foul. It was good work. Just the first on Landon Wong. Caleb Bryan returns. Alex Nara comes back too. 4:09 left in the first half. Baldwin Wallace down by 10. Road games coming for the Jackets at Wilmington, at John Carroll, at Capital, and at Mount Union. Next 4 games over 2 weeks. Quiring's 3 didn't have a chance to go down. Frankly, I thought he may have gotten fouled. Brandon Waugh gets it back. 3 ball for Austin Allmeyer. Nobody boxed out the shooter. He accidentally kicks it out of bounds. All right. Let's see what the Yellow Jackets can do here. Down 10 late in the half. Good start by bringing in Matt Dimitrievs. Matt by himself is 3 of 5 from deep. The rest of the team is 1 of 8. Quiring runs the show. Works around Nara. Floats it back out to Jake Snyder as he goes crashing into the curtain. Schaefer for 3, and he rips the nets. 42-35. Three-pointer in college basketball's great equalizer. Allmeyer rejected and apparently fouled. Oh, I thought it was a clean block. Not the case. Dimitrievs hit him on the wrist. Wilmington leads Otterbein by 2. Marietta running away from Capital 38-21, close to halftime. First free throw from Allmeyer missed. Heidelberg's taken the lead against John Carroll, 27-25, late in their first half. Allmeyer misfires twice. Jackets will take the lucky break inside 3 minutes left. Nara up and underneath. A little too much English on it. Austin Allmeyer. All of a sudden, he's gone ice cold. Even with that miss, Ohio Northern is still shooting 60% from the floor. They lead by 7 here. Quiring's an all-conference guard. He needs this one. Not quite. Bryan the rebound. Allmeyer brings it up the floor. Ohio Northern playing with the upper hand as Jackets get called for another foul. It's on Dimitrievs again. 2:16 left in the first half. The second one on Matt. Now Zach Sabula comes back in for him. I can imagine the Yellow Jacket coaching staff is not going to be thrilled when they see the halftime numbers. When you force 2 turnovers and allow your opponent to shoot 59% from the floor, you're not going to be in a favorable spot more often than not here. Jackets are -5 on the glass. Landon Wong. No, missed the front end of the 1-and-1. And a foul underneath on the Polar Bears. 5th Ohio Northern foul. 2nd on Caleb Bryan. Polar Bears are in the bonus. Jackets not quite there yet. Ohio Northern still has 1 foul to give. 2:05 left before halftime. W down 7. Nara turns around and it's an offensive foul. Wow. Not sure I agree with that one. He was spitting away from the defender. Realized there was some contact there, but I don't think there was anything that was illegal. The referee blew his whistle and said, hey, my bad, I shouldn't have whistled on a sub there. So Drew Sova has to go sit back at the scores table, and now he's actually going to go back to the bench. All right, so the Polar Bears have it up 7. Bryan fakes, got Schaefer to leave his feet, and Luke fouled him. Schaefer commits his first. Team 9th. Caleb Bryan goes to the free throw line. All of a sudden, there's a rather large crowd. You may have seen some of them on the bottom of your screen, filing in from the bottom right-hand corner. Saw Coach Hilbert of the Yellow Jacket football team. And a lot of high school recruits. They must have a big recruiting night tonight for football. A lot of those young men and their families have come in to take in what will be the second half, I would think, of the game. Jackets are down by 9. Quiring. Snyder, catch and shoot. Jackets are off tonight. 5 of 17 from three-point range. Landon Wong. Ohio Northern working on a 5-game losing streak. Their last win came against BW, and they're playing with a lot of confidence in this first half. Long faked and got Soba to bite and then missed the layup. Alex Nara pulls it in. About 23 seconds between game and shot clock here. Let's see if the Jackets want to go 2 for 1. Oh, a foul on C.J. Napier. With 1 to give, not a big deal for Ohio Northern. It's only the first on Napier. who's got a dozen right now. It's the game's leading scorer. 43.1 on the clock. Shot clock goes to 20. Yikes. That was a disjointed offensive play, and it worked out okay. Now there's 5 seconds between game and shot clock, so the Jackets could potentially have a chance here. Can't hold for the last shot without some potential fireworks. Landon Wong dribbling it out. We're at 15 seconds. Now 7 to shoot. Allmeyer. 3 to shoot. Landon Long fakes. Blocked by Sova. Drew gets it back. Drew needs some help. Runs up the floor by himself. And he scores! The big man can dribble. Great control by Drew Sova. What a play. By himself. Brings it to a 5-point game at halftime. Ohio Northern 44, Baldwin Wallace 39. Sova blocked Long's 3 right at the top of the arc, gathered it in, and even though he had Zach Sabula running up the floor with him, he managed to regather the ball and put in a layup just before the red lights went off and the horn sounded. So the teams go to the locker room at halftime with the Yellow Jackets down by 5. BW is shooting 53%. Ohio Northern 55% after that miss. Polar Bears have missed their last 5 3-pointers. Jackets are 5 of 17 from 3-point range. Fairly clean first half, only 7 combined turnovers. Teams combined for 15 fouls. Neither team was in the double bonus. So it really was a fairly offensive first half of basketball. Jackets are down by 5, but certainly within striking range. We'll step aside during halftime. Leading scorer for BW, Drew Sova with 10 points. He hasn't missed from the floor, 5 of 5 shooting the rock. See you here back in about 12 minutes at BWYellowJackets.com. Welcome back to Baldwin Wallace University, where the Yellow Jackets scored right at the horn to cut it to 5 as we get ready for the second half. It's 44-39 Ohio Northern, the 2-10 Polar Bears, who beat the Yellow Jackets back in mid-January, have played the entire game from out front so far. They've led by as many as 14. The Yellow Jackets only trail by a handful here, though. Leading scorer in the game is C.J. Napier. Freshman's played 16 minutes. He's getting the job done. 4 of 8 from the floor. He's at all 4 of his foul shots. 12 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds for him. His plus-minus is plus 15. He's been in the game. Things have gone well. Yellow Jackets have been paced by Drew Sova, who is a perfect 5 for 5 from the floor so far. 10 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. But Sova has a -5 plus-minus. Hopefully things will get better. Drew only played 12 minutes in that first half. Part of the issue, though, is that Ohio Northern has scored 20 points in the paint. And you would think that someone of Sova's size and physicality might negate some of that. Hopefully he'll play a little more inspired on the defensive end here in the second half. Ready to go. Jackets in white. UW's trying to avoid losing a second consecutive game to one of the worst teams in the league. Luke Schaefer in the first half only had 7. Firing back toward Schaefer in the corner. He raises. Missed it, but Q gets the rebound. Turns into acquiring 3 ball, and he buries it. Just like that, it's a 2-point game. 6 points for Michael Acquiring. The Jackets are 6 for 18 behind the 3-point line. Both teams shot better than 53% in the first half. Brandon Waugh on Drew Sova. Went right at him and missed it. Had enough shooting space. Didn't score, though. Mazzio measures and gets it. Baldwin Wallace with back-to-back threes in the opening minute of the second half. And the Yellow Jackets take their first lead of the game as Ohio Northern is forced to call a timeout. 45-44 Baldwin Wallace. And we'll step aside here on BWYellowJackets.com. Welcome back to Baldwin Wallace, where the Jackets lead this game 45-44. It's their very first lead of the evening. It comes quickly on 2 3-balls in the opening 1:01 of the second half. You know, it's kind of interesting as we follow the league here with now only basically 3 weeks left before the OAC tournament. Things are getting awfully bunched together in the middle of the conference. Coming into tonight, Jackets and Capital Crusaders are tied for 3rd in the league at 7-5. John Carroll and Heidelberg are 6-6. Wilmington is 5-7. It's exceptionally likely that all 5 of those teams make the OAC tournament, but it is extremely unsettled at this point. Nobody knows where they're going to be seated. Phillips probably got away with a walk. Instead, he was fouled. I thought he picked up his pivot foot. Foul is on BW. It's on Sova. And it's a shooting foul for Phillips. At this point, it'd be pretty hard to imagine a scenario in which Mount Union and Marietta are not the number 1 and number 2 seeds in the league. It's still possible for others to overtake them, but it's very unlikely. And so you start thinking about matchups and whether or not you'll have a home game in the quarterfinals on that Tuesday, final Tuesday of February for or you'd have to potentially go play on the road in the semifinals on Thursday the 27th. OAC Championship will be on Saturday, February 29th, Leap Day. Going to host the OAC Championship this year as Ohio Northern picks up a foul. 45-45, minute and a half into the second half. Both of these teams capable of making tournament runs. Sova bobbles it, goes out of play. And you might think, gee, Brendan, do you really mean that? I mean, Ohio Northern's 2-10. I absolutely mean that. Ohio Northern gave Mount Union a really good game when they played them in their last contest. They ended up losing the game by 12 because of some late points that extended the score, but that game was 55-55. They were right there against what I think is the best team in the league this year. Luke Schaefer hits another one. He's into double figures with 10. The Jacket lead is 3, 48-45. If Ohio Northern can get in the tournament, you never really know. They've got some work to do, though. If they want to get in the tournament, I feel like they probably need to win tonight's game the way they've shot the ball, as Napier misfires on a 3. Considering they led this game by 14, a loss tonight for the Polar Bears would be pretty tough to swallow. Firing up and under, it would have looked pretty, but it missed. 17-18 on the clock. Polar Bears with Austin Allmeyer going to the rack, and he's fouled before the shot. Marietta leads Capital by 13 points. Wilmington has a 3-point lead over Otterbein. John Carroll up 1 on Heidelberg. Still hoping to get an update from that Muskingum Mount Union game. Try to get you something on that shortly. Allmeyer lobs one in. C.J. Napier. Allmeyer again. One of only a couple seniors. Phillips against Quiring, turns around and missed it. That's kind of amazing. Michael Quiring will never have a size advantage, but he's not afraid to bang around in the paint with anybody. Pretty stagnant offensively at the moment. Schaefer coming off a 31-point effort on Saturday. Q throws one up. Went halfway down. He thought he drew the foul. Pointing to a red spot on his arm. The referee wasn't buying it. Meanwhile, Landon Wong with a nice move down the right lane. 48-47. Give Landon 7 points. 6-foot freshman out of Mason playing fairly well. Zach Sabula, no. Landon Wong. That's a frustrating one to miss. Mount Union with a 58-40 lead. Just under 15 minutes left in their game. Purple Raiders over the Muskies. Anthony Mazzio hits a 3 from the corner. It was so perfect, the net went looping back around and got stuck on the rim. It's 51-47 Jackets. We've got 15:26 left in regulation. Wilmington, John Carroll, Capital, and Mount Union. The next 4 games for BW, all on the road. All 4 of those teams have had moments this year where they've looked really good. And remember, BW won the OAC tournament last year by winning 3 road games. So while everybody puts a lot of emphasis on playing at home in the tournament, Jackets were a prime example last year of proving that it frankly didn't matter. They found a way to win at Wilmington, at Capital, and at Mount Union to claim the OAC championship in 2019. They won an NCAA tournament game. Zach Sabula, boy, that was a weird bounce. Ball deadened on the rim. It was like it was flat. Napier banging around, clears away some space, and then blows the layup. Gets his own miss for a brief second, loose on the floor, and a jump ball. Jackets by 4. The ball stays with Ohio Northern. In the meantime, the Yellow Jacket ladies continuing to play well. Got a 36-22 lead over Ohio Northern halfway through the third quarter. Big congratulations to Yellow Jacket head coach Sherry Harrer, 30th year in Berea. She won her 600th career game on Saturday over Muskingum. There are very few coaches in college basketball history, men or women, at all levels, that have won that many games. She is part of a very elite group and doesn't have any plans on slowing up anytime soon. Napier blocked by Nara and then fouled. Second on Napier, and the Jackets finally, for the first time in a while, feeling like they've got a little bit of momentum here. Can they capitalize on it though? Landon Wong checks out, replaced by Ryan McClurg, one of the 3 juniors on this team. Zalba, Nara, Mazzio, Dimitrievs, and Schaefer, Tom Heil's side. Zalba right to the rack with it. Give him 2. 53-47, first basket for the young man from Mentor. Allmeyer, Thomas Phillips. Wants everybody to clear out. Phillips turns around, faked Schaefer out, scored it. Good play. Phillips is pretty strong. Used his size to his advantage there. Phillips has 11. And foul underneath the basket. Ty Colombo, Jake Snyder both returning. Ohio Northern makes a change too as they bring Caleb Bryan back in the game. Pride of Pittsburgh. Here's Nara. Down the right side, a lot of contact, but not enough for a foul. Didn't bother Alex either way. Give Nara 6. 55-49, Yellow Jackets. Ohio Northern gives it away. It's a traveling violation on Bryan, just Northern's 5th turnover. Somewhere along the way, you kind of expect that this young team from Ohio Northern is going to show signs of growth. I haven't watched every Ohio Northern game all year, so I can't pinpoint specific situations for you. But by this point in the year, with all the minutes that a lot of these underclassmen are playing, you don't really consider them to truly be freshmen anymore. They don't make the same mistakes that first-timers get out on the floor and make. They're certainly showing some resolve staying in it here. Bryan raises and hits a 3. It's a big one. Just the 4th Ohio Northern 3 of the night. He's got 10, and the Polar Bears are back within 3, 55-52. Thrown away. Waugh slows up. Ohio Northern throws it into the post. Phillips, well, it was awkward looking somehow. Ohio Northern kept it alive, 9 to shoot. And Waugh got fouled. BW has shot 2 free throws all night. Ohio Northern Northern's about to shoot their 15th and 16th foul shots. Now, some of that is because BW has taken 25 threes and only 17 twos. Not exactly driving at the bucket a whole lot tonight. Ohio Northern has taken 28 more two-point baskets than three-point tries. Landon Wong calmly puts it in. This is a good game. Two teams that, frankly, both feel like they really need a win in conference play. The Jackets coming off of big stubbed toe against Muskingum, and Ohio Northern is reeling, having lost 5 in a row and 8 of 10. Law couldn't connect on the second one, so it's 55-53. Brown and Gold have the lead. Trailed by as many as 14. Haven't led by double figures. Dmitriev's working with Colombo. Tyler faked it twice. Back to Nara. Goes right to the hoop. And a very late foul call. 2 foul shots coming for Alex Nara. Jackets will take the good fortune. Elsewhere, John Carroll leads Heidelberg 55-48. Wilmington out front of Otterbein 53-46. Capital trying to make a comeback. They're pounding Marietta in the second half, but still trailing by 7. The Pioneers have scored 8 points in 8 minutes in the second half. They still lead the game 50-43. The latest update from Mount Union, the Purple Raiders leading Muskingum 63-47 with 9:37 left in regulation. What does all that mean? Well, the two teams ranked ahead of the Jackets are winning tonight. And Capital, who's tied with BW, is obviously losing at Marietta. A BW loss and a John Carroll win will bring the Blue Streaks, actually, a BW loss regardless of what happens between Carroll and Heidelberg, because they're playing each other and they have the same record. One of those two teams, combined with a BW loss, would move into a tie with the Jackets tonight. Waugh had to let it go, only 5 on the shot clock. Baldwin Wallace leads this game by 4. A win tonight for BW keeps them in 3rd place in the league. Colombo. Good spin move. Count it! And 1! Tyler Colombo. This young man is playing with so much heart. Your heart goes out to him because he's a senior. He has been such an integral part of this team the last few years. He's gotten a lot of playing time, even going back to his freshman year. And his knee has really been bothering him this season. It caused him to miss a couple of games. But he's giving it everything he can under tough circumstances. He's trying not to let that get the better of him. Jackets lead by 7. C.J. Napier going back to the strike. Alex Nara picks up his 2nd foul, team 4th. And falls away. Napier splits the pair. Saturday is a big day around the league. Ohio Northern will travel down to Marietta. Jackets are playing at Wilmington. John Carroll plays Capital. That's always a good game. Other 2 games, who knows? Zalba for 2. Mount Union should beat Otterbein. Heidelberg's playing Muskingum. You would think Heidelberg probably is the better team, but anytime Marcus Dempsey's on the floor, you just can't count him out. It's a fun league to watch if you like D3 basketball. Halfway through the second half, air-mailed 3-pointer. Ryan McClurg Had an open shot, but missed everything. Landon Wong and Austin Allmeyer return. And it means Michael Berner checks out. I'm not sure who else came off the floor there. Allmeyer guarding Zalba. Firing on the bench for the moment. Shane to his left. Snyder's open. One hit off the wire. It's 62-54 Baldwin Wallace. This is their largest lead of the game at 8 points. It's a 22-point swing. The Yellow Jackets trailed by 14 in the first half. And now they lead by 8. Ohio Northern has not had a very good shooting second half. At one point, the Polar Bears were shooting almost 70% from the floor. Only scored 10 points the first 10 minutes of this second half. After 3 of 10 shooting the ball this half. All right. Soba's back in for Nara. Snyder, Dmitriev, Soba, Zalba, and Colombo. Only Soba out there is one of the starting 5. Meanwhile, it's basically a 5-guard set. C.J. Napier, the biggest guy out there at 6'5". Matt Dmitriev hits his 4th three-pointer of the game. And the Yellow Jacket lead is now 11. Give 12 to Matt Dmitriev. 65-54. Allmeyer fades away and misses. 9:15 to go. Zalba back to Snyder, who raises from mid-range, and it pops away. Ball gets pinballed off the backboard twice. And a foul on Colombo. Luke Schaefer returning for Ty. Jackets are outscoring Ohio Northern in the second half, 26-10. Napier, rather Phillips, beg your pardon, misfired on the 3. Zalba trying to put some distance between the Jackets and the Polar Bears. Luke Schaefer, not quite. Soba gets the strong rebound, had it bobbled, got his own miss, and he'll shoot 2 free throws after missing from point-blank range. That's 3 fouls on C.J. Napier. Head coach Tom Heil pacing back and forth in front of his bench. Head coach Rich Bensman is seated with his hands folded in his lap. He and his assistant coaches, Zach Hirth and John Cook, have been pretty animated most of the night trying to keep the team's energy up. The fact is, they are not shooting very well at all in the second half. Things are coming undone. Ohio Northern's only hit 1 of their last 10 three-pointers. And Ohio Northern calls timeout. 8 minutes, 25 seconds left in regulation. The Yellow Jackets, who were down by 14 in the first half, lead by 13 in the second half. Back to Berea in a moment, 67-54. Welcome back to Berea, where the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets have a game-high 13-point lead on their side. They trailed by 14 with 7 minutes left in the first half. And here we are with 8:25 left in regulation. They lead 67-54. Brendan Gulick, glad to have you on board here tonight. A couple of misses. Ohio Northern able to keep it. Wall open for three. That was long right out of his hand. Good open look. BW with a win today could go 4-2 over their last 6 and push their OAC record to 8-5. At Dimitriev's, this is short. BW only has one home game left in the regular season, and it's the OAC finale against Otterbein on Senior Day, Saturday, February 22nd. 3 o'clock tip-off as ONU commits the foul. It's on Allmeyer. Michael Quiring, Zach Sabula, Troy Massa, Jack Lastowski, Alex Nara, Ty Colombo, and Jake Elbin. All seniors on the Yellow Jacket team. All have a chance to be recognized by the Yellow Jacket crowd coming up in a couple weeks. Sova to the rim, give it to him, and the foul. Sova is fired up. "14 points for Drew, and the Yellow Jackets are pulling away. "70-54. Sova with 15 points. It's his second best offensive game of the year compared to the 23 he had against Wilmington a couple weeks back. Phillips fist pumps the bucket plus the foul. BW's OAC losses this year in order came against Marietta, Mount Union, Ohio Northern, Marietta, and Muskingum. Looking for some retribution tonight. They'll have a chance to try and knock off Mount Union Purple Raiders on February 19th. That's coming up 2 weeks from tonight. Dimitriev's in trouble. That was kicked. Stays with the Jackets. BW's traditionally been a pretty good team at home, especially under Tom Heil. Only a couple of home losses all season. Marietta game back on the 26th, and Mount Union loss on January the 8th at Dimitriev's. It's the front of the rim. Jackets feel like when they play at home, they are a tough team to beat. Phillips, not quite enough. They certainly know they can go on the road and win tournament games. Well, the foul's on Drew Sova. That's Drew's second. Somewhat amazingly, none of the Yellow Jackets are really in serious foul trouble tonight. Phillips scores. Ty Colombo's got 3. And Tyler coming off the bench. Not playing as many minutes, especially with Alex Nara's emergence. Phillips takes care of it. Well, the free throw shooting discrepancy is notable for sure. And Ohio Northern is having a inferior night compared to their season average. I mentioned earlier, they're a pretty good free throw shooting team. For whatever reason tonight, not quite as good. 14 of 21. It's below their average of almost 75%. Jacket lead is 12, 70-58. Quiring will inbound in the corner. 14 on the shot clock. Nara. They travel. Yellow Jackets haven't taken too many shots from close to the basket tonight. UW is 10 of 30 from behind the three-point line. And yet they still have a 12-point lead. That one got poked away, and Sabula is called for a foul, which infuriates some Jacket fans. It's the first on Zach, but now 1-1 coming for Landon Wong. Meanwhile, over in University Heights, John Carroll 67, Heidelberg 62. 4.5 minutes left there. Ohio Northern's fighting with Otterbein down there at the bottom of the OAC. Ohio Northern is, or I should say, Otterbein is losing by 11 at home to Wilmington, 67-56. Marietta is beating Capital by 15, 66-51. The Mount Union Purple Raiders lead Muskingum 84-57 with 3:28 left. Got a foul under the basket. So the good news for Ohio Northern, if they can't come back in this game, Muskingum's going to lose. I don't think they're going to make up 30 points on the road at Mount Union with 3 minutes to play. And Otterbein is in a tough spot. If they lose, then Ohio Northern would not fall an additional game behind either of those two teams. Firing has 7 now. A couple of threes tonight. Splits the pair there. BW 71, Ohio Northern 59. 5:55 to go. For the most part, the upper echelon of the OAC is holding serve tonight. Turnaround from Napier. How do you miss that one? Didn't even hit the rim. Quiring calls out the play. Double high screen goes to his right. Looking for Sova to roll. Half spin, turns back the other way and missed it. Regathers, scores. No foul though. 73-59-17 for the big man, Drew Sova. Phillips, no. Sova grabs another rebound. Drew is having a terrific night. 17 points and 9 boards. Considering he's the number 2 rebounder in the league so far this year at better than 8 per game, it's not a surprise. Give him a double-double. 73-59. Here comes Ohio Northern. Under 5 to play as Waugh spins and got hammered. Fouls on Sabula. All right, so Brandon Waugh at the free throw line. He hits the first one. Thomas Phillips also has a double-double tonight, 15 points and 11 rebounds. Sova checks out. He's got 17 and 10. 12 for Dimitrievs on 4 threes. Mazio has 10. Schaefer has 10. So the Yellow Jacket offense is spread around a bit. Napier with 13. Brandon Waugh up to 10 points now from the free throw line. He's got 6 of them from the stripe. Caleb Bryan also with 10 for Ohio Northern. 4:30 to play. Jackets up by 12. Nara went to work. Missed it with a left hand. Phillips grabs his 12th rebound. Waugh to the rim. Nope. Napier an offensive grab. Allmeyer looking for 3. A third opportunity. Back to Napier. And the foul. "15 points for C.J. Napier. And this is sort of what I referenced earlier with Ohio Northern. This is where you find out if your freshmen are ready. They're playing from behind this entire stretch here. It's been a bad second half until the last few minutes. As Rich Bensman calls a full timeout, he is seeing his young guys compete hard. And all of a sudden now it's a 9-point game, 73-64 with 4:06 to play in Berea. BW 73, Ohio Northern 64 with 4:06 to play in regulation. I'm Brendan Gulick. Congratulations to the Yellow Jacket ladies. Another good win tonight, 57-47 at Ohio Northern. Sherry Harrer's team is rolling. They are 18-2. They've now won 10 of their last 11, dating back to December 30th. This Yellow Jacket group is really playing well. They're in a first-place tie in conference with John Carroll, who beat the Jackets head-to-head. Yellow Jackets are trying to keep pace, if you will, with JCU's women, who are also playing well this year. Blue Streaks beat Heidelberg tonight 61-42. So they still stay tied atop the OAC as Michael Quiring goes to the basket for two. John Carroll's only conference loss was to Ohio Northern. So perhaps that final meeting coming up in about a week time, or 1 week time, here on this floor next Wednesday night, could potentially decide the top seed in the OAC tournament. It was a jump ball, and the possession arrow goes back to Baldwin Wallace. 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Alex Nara. Inbounds to Quiring. Dmitrievs, Mazzio, and Schaefer there too. Yellow Jackets lead by 11. Ohio Northern has put themselves in a tough spot. Their next foul will give BW 2 free throws. Under 3 minutes to play. Quiring with 5 to shoot. Spins around and lost it. Phillips finds Waugh. He misses an open layup. Fairly contested, but trying to come back, you've got to have those. Double-doubles in this game from Thomas Phillips, 15 and 12. And from Drew Sova, 17 and 10, as Anthony Mazzio may have put in a dagger. Timeout for a brief moment to fix the net, and now Tom Heil calls a timeout. 13 for Anthony Mazzio. He makes it 78-64 here in Berea. Baldwin Wallace calls its first time out of the game, so they still have 5 remaining. Ohio Northern only 1 timeout left. Both teams in the double bonus. 2:27 left in regulation, with the Yellow Jackets leading by 14 points, 78-64. BW trying to get back on their winning ways, looking for their 4th consecutive home win, although they've lost each of their last 3 road games. Napier backing down Nara, turns around, uses the left hand, gets a foul, and scores again. Napier's a tough customer, man. That young man is going to play an important role in this OAC for the next 4 years if he stays healthy. Napier is 18 points. He's only slightly above his season average. He's been doing this most nights in and out. Out of Bishop Fenwick High School down in Miamisburg, the greater Dayton area. Give him 19 on the foul shot. 2:12 remaining. It's an 11-point game. Gets it over to Schaefer. Luke a step inside the free throw line, bounces underneath, turns it over. Phillips barrels into Quiring, who draws the offensive foul. Good job by Q to really sell it too. He was definitely set. His feet right underneath him. Phillips lowered the shoulder into him. I would put him up against just about anybody in the league in trying to draw those. It's truly one of his strengths. Jackets have 4 of their starting 5 on the floor. Matt Dimitrievs is in there in place of Zach Sabula. Mazzio just kind of slid underneath the bucket, turns around and uses the right hand. 80-50, or I should say 80-67. The minute 35 to play. Long needed it and missed it. Meanwhile, Heidelberg has scored 7 unanswered points and has taken a 74-71 lead on John Carroll with 3 seconds to go. Phillips blocked Mazzio. This is Schaefer in the corner, and that didn't drop in there. Heidelberg has hit back-to-back threes. Dylan Woods is trying to bury the Blue Streaks on their home floor. Wow. That would be a brutal loss for John Carroll. Heidelberg does not go to JCU very often and come away with a win. Student Princes have a fairly good team. John Carroll, coming off of that win over Marietta, thought maybe they could take some momentum, and it's not looking like that would be the case. Quiring misses the teardrop with under a minute to play as the Jackets put the finishing touches on tonight's win. Landon Wong off the heel of the rim. Sova grabs it. Great night for Drew Sova. 17 points, 11 rebounds. He'll have a double-double. It's his 4th game in the last 5 in which he's grabbed double-digit rebounds. And the Yellow Jackets are going to make it a sweep of the Polar Bears tonight on the men's and women's side. After dropping a game to Ohio Northern in mid-January, the Yellow Jackets, well, there still has to be an inbound on the far side. There's .3 on the clock. Just window dressing. And the final buzzer sounds. It's over tonight. Ohio Northern gave BW a pretty good scare early when they had a 14-point lead, but the Jackets close it out tonight, 80-67. The final score here in Berea. So with the win, Baldwin Wallace goes to 12-8 on the season, 8-5 in the league. It's not quite over yet out in University Heights. Wilmington leads Otterbein by just 2 with under 2 minutes to play, so that one's not yet decided. Marietta is up 20 with a minute to go over Capital, so give Marietta a win. Pioneers and the Purple Raiders are both 17-3. Mount Union has a 12-1 record in conference. Marietta is 11-2, and then it's the Yellow Jackets at 8-5. Capital falls to 7-6. The winner of the John Carroll Heidelberg game will be tied with Capital for 4th place in the league. The loser of that game will fall to 6-7. Depending on how Wilmington finishes up against Otterbein, Wilmington perhaps could also be 6-7. It is tightening up with the Yellow Jackets 3 games over 500 at 8-5. They've guaranteed themselves no worse than a 500 finish in conference play. And as I think about it here, looking down at the OAC standings, I think tonight's win guarantees that BW will be in the OAC tournament. Nobody else. Yeah, there's already 3 teams that have lost 9 games or more. So with that being the case, tonight's win means the Yellow Jackets at a minimum will play in the OAC tournament on Tuesday, February 25th. But whether or not they'll be at home or on the road is far from being determined. Final numbers from tonight. Krusova 17-11. Anthony Mazzio had 15. Matt Dimitrievs with a dozen. Luke Schaefer with 10. Jackets shot 30 of 62 from the floor, and they hit 11 of 34 three-pointers, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Ohio Northern's leading scorer was C.J. Napier. He had 19 on 6 of 15 shooting. Thomas Phillips a double-double, 15 and 12. 10 points for Brandon Waugh, 10 points for Caleb Bryan, 8 for Landon Wong, and 5 from the senior Austin Allmeyer. Ohio Northern only had 8 assists, and they turned it over 9 times tonight. Jackets 18 assists compared to 12 turnovers. So Baldwin Wallace with the win goes to 12-8, 8-5. Ohio Northern is 6-14. They fall to 2-11 in OAC play. The Yellow Jackets have just one more home game left the regular season. Hard to believe they're going to play 4 straight on the road. It's an odd scheduling quirk, but that's the reality they face tonight. We hope you can come see them in person and perhaps their last home game of the year. You never know what things are going to shake out and look like. But it's coming up against the Otterbein Cardinals Saturday, February 22nd, Senior Day, to honor a pretty accomplished senior class for BW. And hopefully they'll be coming into that game feeling good with 4 really tough road games. At Wilmington, at John Carroll, at Capital, and at Mount Union the next 2 weeks. I'm Brendan Gulick. Good luck to the Polar Bears the rest of the way. We'll see if they qualify for OAC tournament play. They have Marietta coming on Saturday. Final score tonight, BW 80 and Ohio Northern 67. So long, everybody.